I'm going to share with you a strategy that can improve your customer service in your office. Welcome to Efficiency and Organization, where we talk a lot about having good systems in place, being productive, being organized, having good plans, so that way we can all achieve a lot more, whether it's in our jobs or in our small businesses, in our personal lives, education, whatever aspect of life it is. So in this video, we're going to target specifically if you have some kind of a business, like a small business, where you have multi-steps of things you need to do. And here's an example. If you're an architect, if you're an attorney, if you are a dentist, if you are a professional, like some kind of a financial professional, bookkeeper, accountant, then these things are very important, real estate agent, because there are multiple steps involved with each client. And the biggest thing I could tell you, well, probably two of the biggest things that all clients look for. Number one is you being polite and kind. Number two is following through on things that you say you're gonna do. So in your office, or whether it's at home, whether it's at another location, you want to have a system, something that's there for good customer service so you can follow through on things that you tell them you're going to do. Because it's all about trust. If the client loses trust in you, if you say you're going to do something and you don't do it, or you don't do it in the time that they think you're going to do it, then trust is broken and it's very difficult to get that trust back. So one of my small businesses that I have had for over 20 years, I started back in 2003, is doing commercial insurances, which means I only focus on commercial insurance, having to do with buildings, having to do with liability and such, workers' compensation. So my work involves multi-steps, different steps. So from the beginning, from the phone call that comes in or the email that comes in asking for a quote, asking for information, there are things I need to do, and I need to do them in a timely manner. So one thing I developed, a very easy system that I developed that I know can work for many other services and products, involves a simple sheet that you can download, okay? So every time I have a client file, whether it's a brand new person or a continuing person, whenever a call comes in for a service or putting something in place, I write down the date, I write down what steps I need to do, and I write down when I want to do them by. Here's an example. I have a company that contacted me in order to renew somebody's policy. They are asking for like 4 different pieces of information. So the date I contacted the person, my client, I wrote it down. Then the 4 things that were needed, I wrote in the middle under tasks. And then the due date I put for 3 days after. I said, okay, if in 3 days I don't get this information, then that day is when I'm gonna go and contact them again. Now, what I have is piles like for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So for each day of the week, I know what tasks I need to do. And so I go 3 days later, and if it's a Tuesday, I pull the file from the Tuesday pile, and then I go, okay, I guess I have to reach out to the client again to follow up. Another thing is, let's say I'm expecting the client to give me signatures, give me payment so that I can get the policy going again, right? Same thing. I put it in my pile for the day of the week, so that way I know what I need to do. So if you have the type of business where you constantly have to follow up, or you constantly have to follow through, there are multiple parties involved, there are multiple steps involved, then you're basically in my shoes. And it'll really help you to have some kind of a system, a form. Now, the one that you can download, I'll have the link in the description of the video. It's so simple. It's on Microsoft Word, and you can, if you're by yourself like a sole proprietor like me, or a side business like me, or maybe you do this on a full-time basis, you can download it and make it for your own, okay? And then have everybody who's helping you in your organization use the same format. Now you can use like some kind of a follow-up system. I think Monday.com is one where different people, you could see everyone in the organization, what they're doing with various files. That's good. You can use a system like that, but it does cost money and you do have to train yourself on how to use that. And so for me, being a very small operation, having just this very simple form helps. It's the same for every file, and so I'm used to using it. It's written, so it's not like it could be lost on the computer, and I even file it because, okay, I'll give you a good example. If a client says, I need earthquake insurance for my property, right? And then if I give them the price and the client says, oh, I wasn't expecting it to be that much and doesn't pay, I have a record that I talked to them and I offered it and the client just said no. And that'll be very important for me down the line, because if an earthquake does happen and the client says, well, you never told me what it was going to cost, I have my proof. So that's another thing that's important in business, is having records. And so having this kind of a record will be very important to me. And you're probably in the kind of business where it would help you as well. The other thing to watch for is when it comes to customer service nowadays. See, before, when I started in 2003, cell phones were so new, right? And so I didn't really even give people my cell phone number. But now we don't have landlines. Like, my office is here in my home. And so all I use is a cell phone for communication. Now, when I'm driving and when I'm somewhere, like I'm at my daughter's tennis practice or something, if I get a call from a client and I answer, it's really hard for me because I don't have my form to write down what the client needs. But just be open with communication. Let them know, say, you know what, I wanted to take your call because I thought, I want to help you. I want to give you good service. The only thing is I'm not in my office. Would you mind emailing me? Either that, or when you download the thing that I'm sharing with you, I have a half page. You can make like maybe 10 copies of that half page and then have it with you, so that way you can whip it out real quick and write down what the client's need is. But just, that's like the worst possible thing to have, is when you don't have something to write on, a good system for reminding yourself, and that way like things might fall through. Another thing I have done before, I have texted myself and I've emailed myself. So on my phone, as the client says, can you give me a copy of whatever, right? Then I send myself an email on Gmail, so that way it's there and then I can follow up on it. So systems are so important in every aspect of life: being organized, being efficient, having good follow-through skills. And so this is one aspect of that I wanted to share in this video: how to have great customer service, great follow-through, just by using simple tools and techniques in everyday life. I hope you found this video to be very helpful to you. And for more like this, please be sure to subscribe, and I will catch you in the next video.